All right, good morning, folks. We're sitting again here in the sunny Manzum, Texas. And next to me, I've got Kevin Davis. He just returned from his trip up into Africa and had to make a about turn. Asking Kevin just to give us some feedback. You guys recall the interview we had before he left on his trip, and now just for some feedback on how the trip was. Give us a summary of the highs and lows of your trip. On the lows, don't have to share too much details, but Kevin, thanks again for spending time with us. And we're sitting, folks, I'm not sure if you can see behind us the amazing weather we're having here in Toti the day before a weekend. But it's such a privilege to again just sit here with Kevin and touch base on him and get feedback on your trip you had in Africa and the experience and stuff. Something that most of us dream about, either don't have the finances or the know how to take on a trip like this. But Kevin is, in my book, is a master in this area. Kevin, thanks. Give us some feedback.
Yeah,
What happened?
You wouldn't say it's the middle of winter in South Africa. It's like short sleeves.
Yeah, it's very
middle
weird.
of July. You think you're in the northern hemisphere here, eh? But yeah, no. Trip was absolutely fantastic. You know, I never use the word awesome, but if I did, that's probably be how I described it.
Yeah.
Highs and lows. I mean, the bits I was looking forward to definitely came through. Camping up on the Lake Malawi, that was an absolutely fantastic experience. Seeing all the lake flies out in the middle of nowhere and just big clouds of flies, and they're so small that they even get in between the fly nets that you have on your windows. There's stories of fishermen actually suffocating to death being caught in these swarms of flies. It's incredible.
I hope you didn't bring any of those things with you.
No. We left all of those things behind there. I think all of the people that are from all of the things from sort of up north, Central Africa, with a chip on their shoulder already here. I didn't have to bring any more. But yeah, the other absolute highlights was Serengeti. I mean, it lived up to its reputation. It is eye-wateringly expensive to go in there, especially if you want to go down into the crater. But you know, I managed to do a good deal, and I had a couple of days in Serengeti. Gorilla trekking as well. Rwanda, I did the golden monkeys, but the gorillas up in Uganda, which is just as exciting, just the same kind of experience, but a lot less, I would say, westernized, not as touristy, if you like. The gorilla trekking, on the other hand, I must say, it was fantastic. I would say you definitely got to do it, and I'm absolutely glad that I did it.
Yeah.
But afterwards, it felt a little predictive to me, you know. It's almost like the gorillas were kind of waiting for you to rock up, because they have a new group of tourists every single day, and as soon as you get close, then the silverback just goes, I think bloody humans are again, you know. And
could they have been paid?
Oh, well, you know, I think actually they probably do take bookings.
Sure.
They've been that habituated. Lows, I tell you what, going from Tanzania into Rwanda, I hit a huge pothole. You will have read that if you've been following the blog. Fortunately, and don't ask me how, I didn't come off, but it folded me double, winded me, tore all my core muscles, back muscles, everything like that. After about 100 or so meters, I managed to stop the bike and managed to get off because the swelling hadn't started by then. And I knew I'd injured myself, so I had to think clearly first.
You were talking about the pothole that you, your muscles and stuff. Did you have medication with you?
No. So I'd done the 525 Ks out of the 615 to the border post. And the 525 Ks I'd just done had no infrastructure or anything like that. So it was a case of, you know, what do I do? I've got an SOS button on the Garmin InReach with me, so I could have pressed that, but, you know, it would have then been a lot of coordinating, and I was still standing upright. I wasn't leaking. There was no blood or anything like that.
Sure.
So I thought, let me take the 90 Ks to the border post, and there's going to be some infrastructure. Maybe there's a sick bay, medical facility or something like that. So I got back on the bike. It took 2 hours to ride the 90 Ks because it's so slow, pothole so bad. Pulling up on the handlebars and sitting back down in a vertical line like this was fine, but there was no twisting. And in that 2 hours, the swelling had taken its toll. When I got to the border post, I couldn't get off. But the result of that was I met some people at the border post, the border manager and the chief of the border police for Rwanda at the border post, and we're still in contact today.
Sure.
And the most amazing people, the most amazing people. So as I say, you know, out of the adversity of your travels comes some of the best experiences.
You were mentioning your blog, and you've been posting regular updates on your blog. Folks, the link to Kevin's blog is on the screen, right to the number 2 utopia.co.za. Please go and read up on his trips up into Africa and some of his past trips before we met a month or so ago.
You'll be surprised to hear that it was 4 months ago.
4 months ago.
Yeah.
Time flies.
When you're having fun.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
left in March and we're in July
I
now.
didn't even grow a proper beard by the time. Jeez. Okay. But it's nice to have you back. What are your plans now? Are you going to stay here for a couple of days and then head back to the UK?
Yeah. So the original plan was always to ride around Lake Victoria, get to Nairobi, and then make a judgment call
Okay.
as to whether it was going to be a trip around Lake Victoria and back to South Africa, or whether we were going to extend it and then go Ethiopia, Sudan, Egypt, Europe. Egypt has always been a bit of an odd one out as far as overlanding is concerned, because it is probably one of the most bureaucratic countries to get your vehicle into and out of. At the moment, they're having issues with not allowing any 4x4 vehicles into the country at all. Apparently, ISIS have now moved out of Syria and are trying to take over the desert. So hence
Sure.
no 4x4s. Sudan was also, after their coup end of last year, they are promising elections, but some of the people are protesting, saying the elections won't be fair. This is Africa. When is an election fair in Africa? Ethiopia also had an attempted coup the 2 days while I was in Nairobi. And the other complication is, from a South African point of view, South African passport, South African registered vehicle, you don't need to pre-apply for any visas or any documentation or anything like that, up to and including Kenya. But further north you do. And you can do that in Nairobi, but it takes time. Their standard answer is no, and you have to spend time convincing them otherwise, etc. So I thought, well, let's just make it a trip around Lake Victoria and come back again. At the end of next month, August, I have an event in Oxford in the UK,
Yeah.
the overlanding event. So I'm flying over to attend that and do a couple of things there, see some family and whatever. And then I'll be back at the beginning of September. We have run out to Hazyview for the first weekend, then a couple of bits and bobs in between. The go-to event for anyone who's interested in overlanding in South Africa is the Horizons Unlimited event, which is at Algra River Lodge this year between the 7th and the 11th. Yeah, on the Vaal River, just outside Potch. Absolutely gorgeous venue. The people that run Horizons Unlimited overseas, Grant and Susan Johnson, they've been to the event 3 or 4 times, and they have said by far the best venue they have in the world and the best food they have at any of their venues.
Sure.
It's an absolutely fantastic event. If you're even thinking maybe to might not, definitely go, do yourself a favor. Absolutely fantastic. So that's the second weekend of November, and then I'm planning now, sort of after Christmas, early January, maybe December sometime, to have another bite at it and shoot back up, but this time don't do all the meandering, like 4 months to get to Mombasa and 7 days to get back again. Let's just take like 7 days to get to Nairobi, but go with all the documentation and the visas and everything pre-done in Pretoria in South Africa, and then do Ethiopia. It's normally not raining that time of the year up there, and the Sahara Desert in Sudan and Egypt is a bit cooler because that's Northern Hemisphere winter. And then from there into Europe, see how things go. We have this discussion going on about a South America trip early next year, but that's still maybe not. If it happens, then I'll go west towards North America, South America, whatever, or I'll turn east and go Mongolia, Russia. As a South African passport holder, you don't have to have a visa for Russia, so that's great.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's nice.
very great. Yeah.
Sure. Right, so like I said, there's a lot of planning going in on a trip like this. So if there are anyone who would like to ask Kevin questions, please do so in the comments below the video. Ask your questions, and I'm sure Kevin will keep an eye on the comments and answer any questions. Otherwise, contact Kevin through his blog, right to utopia.co.za. Contact him through his blog and ask any questions, because I'm sure you'll part with some wisdom on the trips you've had and the raw brick walls you've had to deal with, like you making your decision to go around and come back again and not go up into Egypt because of those issues. The
United Nations recognizes 195 countries in the world. There's 193 member states, plus what they call the Holy See, SEE, which is the Vatican basically, which is not a member state but permanently recognized. And there's the state of Palestine, which is not a member state but recognized. So 195. I've done, call it 50. So I've done a quarter of the countries in the world. When you get to a situation like was going to face me in Ethiopia, Sudan, Egypt, you know, there's no point getting target fixation about going that route because that's what you planned and you let it adjust as the ride unfolds. The day you leave was 4 months ago. The day you get there, things will be different, most probably. So, you know, adjust as you go.
Sure. Take notes, guys. Again, like I said, please speak to Kevin, comment in the below the video, or get hold of him through his blog. You know, personally, I wish I can take on trips like this if I don't get asked to do so much training in South Africa. Not that I mind, but luckily I have Kevin. Kevin is also one of MSI's main sponsors, and I look forward to walk a road with you where we can work together again to take whatever you have into countries like Africa and equip other people to possibly ride motorcycles more effectively in those conditions they have up there compared to what we have in South Africa. But
a lot of what I saw up there was not a lot of big bikes, but literally thousands and thousands of little 100cc scooter, commuter, taxi bikes, things like that. I'm probably not qualified to evaluate their riding, but I thought it was atrocious. But there is no riding schools. No matter where I went, I was looking for adverts for riding schools to go and speak to them and say to them, you know, what standard do you teach to? Is it sort of adopted from an American standard, a European standard, or do you just, you know, teach what you think? But everybody's taught by their friends. You know, if somebody wants to start to learn to ride a motorbike, it's probably their mate at school that taught them, like I started learning in Port Shepstone all those years ago.
I know there's a guy I have on Facebook, Eddie, I think is his name, in Kenya. He would benefit tremendously from someone helping him in Kenya to equip others. He's already doing that on some scale. Eddie, if you're watching this video, we're thinking of you. We're going to make a plan to get some sort of education training to you, be it online, and if Kevin ever goes up that way again, we'll make sure that he put his indicator on and go through Kenya and connect with you there, so that we can help you help others in your communities and in the country. Kevin, again, thanks a lot. Anything else you want to share with us before we...
One of the things that, so the blogs at the moment have all been about riding and the countries that I've been to and the people that I've seen and things like that. But I'm getting a lot of questions about, I mean, even the guys from GPS for Africa were asking me to do a report on the personal locator beacons experience, so the Spot that I used to have and now the Garmin InReach that I'm using. But I'm getting a lot of other questions. You know, a lot of people say, why do you have a clock next to your instrument cluster? And so, you know, explain those things to them. The idea that when you first started out, then you needed to buy some protective gear like a jacket or something like that, and the one that you wanted was the $2,000 Klim suit, and then you can't really get that, so you buy the 500 or 250 euro jacket, and then you wear that for a little while, then you realize why it's so cheap, and then you get the next one up, and then before you know it, 2-3 years down the line, you've got $4,000 worth of kit that you don't use, and you bought the Klim suit for $2,000 that you do use. You know, so why is it that some of them are more expensive and so what is the benefits, and is it actually worthwhile to go to that expense from the outset? What should you be thinking about those kinds of things? So I'm going to start blogging about that.
Fantastic. That'll be very interesting. Very interesting. Again, thanks, Kevin.
My pleasure. Any time of the week and twice on Sunday.
Twice on Sunday, yes, sir. Folks, thanks again for tuning in. That's Kevin Davis. Please follow him and ask him any questions relating to his expertise. And you can ask him twice on a Sunday if you like. But again, thanks, Kevin, and all the best for your travels in the future. And again, I look forward to working with you down the line with MSI and how we can make things better wherever we go for people that we get in contact with. Thanks again.
Looking forward to it as well. Great.